Weapons is out in theaters, new horror film written and directed by Zach Cregger, whose previous movie, Barbarian, was unexpectedly amazing. This stars Julia Garner, Josh Brolin, Alden Ehrenreich, Benedict Wong, Carrie Christopher, Austin Abrams, and Amy Madigan. Very interesting production history. Apparently, the script was very hyped up in Hollywood and generated a bidding war, with Jordan Peele being super interested in acquiring the script and directing it himself. When his management company didn't secure it for him, he fired them in response. With Zach Cregger getting to direct it and getting apparently an insanely generous deal. Loads of money for the script, full control over the final cut, guaranteed theatrical window, basically unprecedented for a young horror director these days. Then the film had a different cast originally, but most of them dropped out in the meantime due to scheduling conflicts and lengthy pre-production. Pedro Pascal was replaced by Josh Brolin, Renate Reinsve was replaced by Julia Garner, Brian Tyree Henry by Benedict Wong, and Tom Burke by Alden Ehrenreich. Finally, the original release date was in January 2026, but the successful test screenings made the studio change the date to August 2025, which is a more prestigious sort of time window and definitely a sign of confidence. As was also a sign of confidence was also the interesting, deliberately vague marketing campaign with some really exquisite trailers and posters which didn't reveal almost anything about the film. And I think it's warranted confidence because the movie is spectacular. It is without question the best film I've seen this year so far, and I struggle to imagine what could beat it. The basic premise, and this is not a spoiler, all of it is explained in the first 3 minutes of the film, is that one day at a primary school in one certain classroom, none of the kids showed up for school except for one boy. The rest of them all got up silently at 2:17 a.m. In the night, went downstairs in their houses, went out, and ran off into the darkness. The remaining boy was questioned, the teacher was questioned, the police remains unable to find any trace of the missing children, and a month later, the school reopens, and this is where the movie truly starts. I won't say anything more because the film goes in some truly unexpected direction and it's a joy to discover it on your own, which is the first reason I loved it so much. When you watch as many movies as I do, it is genuinely rare to have a film come out where I have absolutely no idea where it's going to go from scene to scene, what the next pivot is going to be, what will happen. In a way, it reminded me of seeing Parasite in theaters for the first time. I distinctly remember how in that movie, the moment that mid-movie reveal and tonal shift happens, I just sat up straight and was fully focused because I had absolutely no clue what was going to happen next. This had that, and not just on the plot level, but also when it comes to tone. It is not a straight-up horror. I mean, yes, it has scenes which are genuinely creepy and unsettling and terrifying. It has gore, it has jump scares, effective ones at that. But it also has dark humor and absurdity and drama and social commentary. There was an entire section in the middle of the film, chapters of Paul and James, where it goes off so far away from the horror vibes that I was sort of shocked when it came back to the scares. But crucially, all of those tonal shifts work. They make sense. They are executed very, very well. Put it like this, it's the only movie ever I can think about that made me go from literally jumping up in my seat from terror to tears of laughter in the span of about 2 minutes. And it didn't feel jarring at all. The film, similarly to Barbarian, has several different chapters where each of them focuses on a different main character. And that's done fantastically because we often go back to events and times we've seen before and get to learn new information through a different perspective. But what's impressive is how efficient the film is, how economic with its runtime. Save for maybe 30 seconds in total, we never actually see the exact same scenes or events play out twice. When we get to a scene that happened, the movie often just cuts directly to the next scene or at least shows us different portions of the dialogue. Similarly, it uses some incredibly efficient editing techniques to push the story forward very quickly. Example, a scene where a character drives from one place to another. In a normal movie, you would have a shot of the character getting in the car, a second or two of them driving away, a second or two of an overhead helicopter shot to establish the new location, a second or two of them driving and coming to a stop, and then them coming out of the car. And there's nothing wrong with that, but the way it's done in Weapons is literally character gets in the car and shuts the door, hard cut to door opening in the next location. And sure, it gives you that second or two where as a viewer you need to sort of reorient yourself and figure out where you are now, but it forces you to pay attention and removes all unnecessary fat from the movie, saving 3 seconds here, 5 seconds there, and allowing itself to pack that much more meaningful plot-related sequences into the film. When it comes to characters, everyone plays the role perfectly. This was maybe the first time I genuinely enjoyed Julia Garner in a movie. I think she does a great job. So does Brolin. The real standout though was Austin Abrams, who was very memorable in a very small role in Wolves just last year. And here he is wonderful at straddling the line between being a disgusting, slimy little junkie thief goblin and someone who's genuinely hilarious and relatable. Loved that. Probably my favorite character in the film. I also loved that each of the characters is really given a lot of personality, their own sort of strengths, but also their own vices. Even with not a lot of runtime, the movie manages to make them all feel layered, feel like real people, feel sort of complicated. I think thematically, Weapons is very interesting. I think it offers some commentary on school shootings in America and police responses and inability to do anything about them. It can also be read as an exploration of how abuse and fucked up things can happen in a child's home without any outsider being able to or being persistent enough to sort of cut through, to identify and to act on. It's about how communities can go on witch hunts and blame completely innocent people in search of answers. And crucially, all of those points are made subtly and not explicitly. You can read into them, but you can also just enjoy the surface level story and enjoy it for that. There is no aspect in which the themes of the metaphor break the story in any way. Something that, for comparison, happened in a movie called Us by Jordan Peele just a few years ago. Weapons just holds together very, very well and explains enough about what's going on, but not 100% everything. You can still wonder about some things in the end. I love the scares. There are all kinds of them. As I said, some very effective jump scares, but also eerie, unsettling, slower scenes which just fill you with dread. The standout scene for me is probably the scissors scene at night. I won't spoil what exactly happens, but if you see the movie, you will remember it for sure. One of the most creepy things I've experienced in a good while. And the humorous scenes are incredible, it's just fantastically funny. As I said, I had tears on my face from laughing so hard in the final act. Very good balance of serious tension and levity. And I think this is also an interesting thing that the movie does, where it sets up something incredibly scary at first, but the more you explore it and the more you get to know it and understand it and learn about it, the more you spend time with it, the less terrifying it becomes. And by the end, this fear of the unknown is in a way dispelled by cathartic laughter. And just great final act, by the way. Completely insane, but great. So yeah, I love the film. I think it's incredibly well written and even better executed. Just performances, editing, story structure, cinematography, music, sound design, all those things work together to create a truly memorable, entertaining, fun movie. Strong contender for best film of 2025.